Greetings, cinephiles. Are you looking for a movie analysis podcast that stands above the rest? Then look no further than Collateral Cinema, the only movie podcast that matters.
We analyze good movies, we analyze bad movies, and yes, we also analyze the in-betweens of the world of cinema.
So if you like what you hear, find us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter.
And listen to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and wherever you get your podcasts.
And yes, my friends, we are 420 friendly. So when you listen to us, smoke it if you've got it. And now, here's a new episode of Collateral Gaming. The show starts right now.
I'm Ashley Chancellor.
I'm Zachary Gio.
And this is Collateral Gaming with Collateral Cinema.
Welcome to Collateral Gaming Holiday Edition, where we focus on good games, bad games, and everything else in between in the world of gaming, with a little bit of jingling all the way. Man, today we got an awesome episode ahead of us. Got here my boy Ashley Chancellor with us. What's going on, homie?
Hell yeah, brother. It's great. Great spending Christmas and the holidays with the family. And down here. And we're recording from across the United States. And yes, my friends, we are a 420 friendly podcast. And yeah, man, it's going to be a good time. We're going to be finally talking about this game. We intended to do it last season. But here we are. We're going to be talking about the Grinch, specifically the port on Dreamcast. And I guess it's the same version on PS1 as well.
Well, it is, but the one on PS1 doesn't look as good, in my opinion. It's a little bit more, what's the word? Not polyamorous.
Polished?
Polygonal. A little bit more polished, a little less polygonal.
Yeah.
And honestly, the Dreamcast version is the one I grew up playing with my dad. We probably beat that game probably in the 30s or 40s, if I'm being honest. And it was just an awesome time with my dad, and I have a lot of memories with this game, and I'm really glad that we're finally getting a chance to actually sit down and talk about it, because you've been playing it a lot recently, haven't you?
Yeah, I played through most of the game now. I got to the Who Lake, which has the most banger fucking soundtrack. Like this game, there was how am I trying to put this? This game doesn't have the right to have as banger of a fucking soundtrack as it does.
Oh, yeah, that's right. You said it doesn't have a right to be that fucking good.
It does not have the right to be that fucking good. I mean, I was listening to this, and it's a reprisal of the game's main theme, which was pretty good. But as soon as I got to Who Lake, I remember listening to it, and it's got this, like, steel guitar, which you can clearly hear on the Dreamcast. And it just goes really fucking hard, with a little bit of that, like, lake camp feel to it.
Oh yeah, you can tell that the composer for this game really put his heart and soul into it, and man, every single area in this game, I think there's 5 areas that you have, and every single one of them is just an absolute delight to sit in the snow and listen to. And when I say there's 5 areas, I think we've got Whoville, which is where you start the game. You've got the dump. You've got
the Who
Lake.
Forest.
Oh, the Who Forest. Okay, so you've got Whoville, Who Forest, the dump, and then you can access Who Lake.
So it's four main levels, but you backtrack to those areas a lot. And then there's Mount Crumpet, which is the hub.
Yeah, the hub is honestly one of my favorites in video games, dude. It's so good. It's awesome to go there. You can control Max every time you're playing the game, but it's a lot of fun to do it in the hub. It's where you can actually spend a lot of time using blueprints that you collect in the overworld to build gadgets and stuff that the Grinch can use. And those gadgets flow really well with the pace of the game, and it doesn't feel rushed at all. And for a game as old as this is, they did not hold back with the level of difficulty that it takes to actually acquire all of the blueprints. And just the game itself in general is a challenge, and it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, it is a challenge, and some of it is actually because of the dated controls and hardware. So some of it is,
Yep.
is quite frustrating, but never never anything that I wasn't capable of doing. Especially if you're emulating this, you make use of save states. I think just about any time I'm emulating a game, I make use of that feature because a lot of
Oh yeah.
older games were just very frustrating and required the player in a sense it was a way that game developers in the past have used to sort of pad the length of the game, like let's make a difficult section where the player has to play through it again and again and again and again. And modern game
Yep.
design, for the most part, I mean, obviously you have your souls likes, but for the most part kind of eschews that sort of level design. But older
Yeah.
games do not hold back. They're in this game. If I didn't have save states, I probably would have been done with it a long time ago because sometimes it just didn't feel fair. The platforming can be a little obtuse, but it's a good time nonetheless. Like I said, the whole vibe of it is really nice. Every level kind of has this like Seussian quality. It's supposed to be a tie-in with the movie, but it doesn't feature Jim Carrey or Boris Karloff's
No, it doesn't.
voices for that matter.
But that to me, that's not really that big of an issue because this Grinch is his own beast, and it's hilarious. All of the quips and stuff that he says, every reaction that he has to interacting with people, it's a really good time. And I'm actually, after playing the game as much as I have, I'm kind of glad that Jim Carrey or Boris Karloff isn't a part of it. Meanwhile, that is to say, they are phenomenal Grinches, but this Grinch kind of has his own category for me, and that's why I've grown up loving this game. The guy that does the voice acting really knew how to get into the mindset of the Grinch that stole Christmas.
Yeah, he's his own Grinch, and like there's one line in particular that just made me laugh where once you go back to the Who Forest after getting the octopus climbing gear, and when you blow up the cabin with rockets, he says, "Happy birthday, Mr. President."
Oh yeah, dude.
And you're Grinch.
That's my favorite thing about this game is the different tasks that you have to do in each area, and that one that you're talking about is like blowing out the candles or lighting the candles on the birthday cake where you're just going around the northern part of the forest collecting fireworks to put on this man's cake. It's fucking hysterical, dude.
It is. Yeah, I love it. Most of the game's plot actually kind of it's more of a prequel than anything to the movie, and then kind of I think it ends about where the movie ends, and they feature a couple moments like you meet Cindy Lou Who at the post office, and they have their little interaction. But other than that, it's kind of its own thing. It's mostly the Grinch like preparing. I think the main plot of the game is he's trying to get back his blueprints to his machines, and then all the while he's pulling pranks on the Who citizens,
Mm-hmm.
Which range from various tasks like painting over the mayor's posters to launching eggs into their windows to making their trees wither and die to throwing beehives down into their houses through the chimney,
Sliming the mayor's skis. Oh,
a lot of shit, a lot of pranks specifically on the mayor, infesting his home with rats. Because fuck the mayor. If you've seen the movie, fuck the mayor.
Yeah, the mayor's an asshole.
By the way, I guess this is going to be sort of a Collateral Cinema collab special. I'm representing both podcasts here, and I'm going to go ahead and throw it onto the Collateral Cinema channel as well. Because I mean, this is a movie game, and we did the movie for our holiday special a few years ago. That was the first time we collaborated with Victims and Villains.
Yeah, I actually listened to that episode, and I really liked what you guys had to say about it, and it made me really pumped to talk about this. And I'm actually really glad that we're finally here because it's not a very long game. If you actually focus on the main objectives and doing what you need to do in order to board Santa's sleigh and sabotage his delivery of the presents and stuff, it maybe takes like 15 hours to do everything.
Yeah.
But if you're actually taking the time to put the effort into the game, finding all of the presents, which is a bitch in and of itself, to doing all of the tasks and visiting every aspect of the map, you're probably going to spend maybe 20 to 25 hours. It's not a very big game or a very long game, but it's very enjoyable, and it does what it's supposed to do in a timely and hilarious manner. And that's why I love this game so much. It's one of the ones that I played so many times as a kid. Partially because, when we were younger, we didn't have much money. And so the games that I did get, we spent a lot of time playing them. Like Namco Museum or Sonic Shuffle or Sonic Adventure, actually. That was my first Sonic the Hedgehog game. But The Grinch was very special because my dad and I played that game damn near every fucking day together. Like, before I got into Call of Duty, that is. That's when I kind of abandoned my parents and was just like, yeah, I'll be in the room. But no, my dad is actually, he was here yesterday and we played a little bit together last night and it was a lot of fun. We actually just did the Whoville tasks, and I was actually the one that advanced the Christmas clock.
Nice.
So, and my favorite mission in Whoville is definitely like going into the post office and fucking with the mail.
Yeah, that's a great level too because it's got stealth sections. It actually has you control Max and use him quite a bit. That was a gimmick I think that wasn't utilized as much as it could have been in the game. There's only a handful of levels where you actually use Max, but yeah, you can switch to him at any time. My daughter Hazel, she was playing this game, and her favorite part I think was just controlling Max and like running around as Max. She thought that was
Max.
Go, Max!
Oh, he says in the exact same way. That's another thing I love about older games. Like, there's not a lot of variety in the way things are said, and so those phrases kind of get ingrained in you. And
hey, who are you, Big Daddy?
Yeah, honestly, controlling Max was some of my favorite parts of the game. It was awesome. So
yeah, I love all the Max stuff. There's that one part of the game where you have him lead the rats. That was tedious, but I mean, you got to use him a little bit. What was weird is like the Grinch. I thought you had to use the Grinch to like herd them, to run, but they would just run away and hit the walls. And I was like, huh. And then I switched to Max, and they actually follow Max for some reason. So you lead the rats but you have to do them like one at a time, and it's really tedious.
It's the whole animal connection thing.
Yeah,
I believe.
guess so.
But that part of the dump took me a while, just because I had the same issue, and plus, playing this as a much younger kid, I did not have a lot of game sense like I do now, and so it was really satisfying to do all those puzzles. But my favorite one in the entire game, my favorite task, is stopping the electromagnetic power plant. That is like the coolest. That is the coolest mission in the entire game.
It's a long one. I mean, the dump was so much longer than I thought it was. Like you climb over the fence, and then there's this whole power station level, which is essentially a level in its own right. And then you go inside the power station, and that's a whole thing. You have to deactivate like four generators.
Yeah, and honestly, like the whole place is a dump too, so it's really hard to get around.
And at that point, you're utilizing most of the gadgets that the game has to offer total. I think the only things left to get would be the marine copter or the marine mobile and the Grinch copter. But like all of like the other gadgets, the ones that the Grinch personally uses, I mean, you're just gonna use all of those in tandem now. So you've got the launcher and the Slimer and the jetpack, and you're gonna use all of those, and the climbing gear.
And good luck, by the way, once you get the marine mobile and the Grinch copter. The things that you do with that are so hard. Just letting you know now. Because have you finished the marine mobile yet?
No. So I'm in the middle of the Who Lake section. I got the counselor clothes. That was the only boss battle that this game has to speak of.
Yep. And honestly, it's really cool though.
Yeah.
Because it makes it memorable and it makes it really fun to work your way back up to. And it's hard too. It's not easy at all.
Yeah. These levels are surprisingly dense. I think, they made up for the lack of levels. There's only 4 main levels in the game, with each of these being very involved and almost having a Metroidvania style of progression where you'll have to carry gadgets that you get in future levels back to other levels in order to complete all of the objectives.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, there's like you might think that you're done with a level and you've explored everything there is to do, but then there'll be a whole other section of the level that you haven't been able to explore yet. So they're very long, very big. You're gonna spend a lot of time in each of these locations.
And it's cool though too because you get to really experience. It forces you to really experience every aspect of the game, and it makes it for a more enjoyable and more exploratory experience.
Definitely.
So, but dude, I'm really glad that you're finally getting the chance to play through it because I've been telling you for years. It's a game you need to get into.
Yeah.
So, what's your favorite part of the game so far?
So far, let me think. I mean, the power station was really cool. I really enjoyed that section of the game. But there's also something that was really kind of special about the opening moments in Whoville as well. That's the part of the game that I think feels the most like the movie. But I may have to give it to Who Lake just for being, that like late game stage where you basically have all of the tools at your disposal from the beginning. And the soundtrack is really banger. The game kind of expects you to understand all of its mechanics by this point. So, um, and I mean, the dump was really cool, but it feels so different from the rest of the game.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's supposed to be. It's a pile of shit and trash.
Yeah,
I like how different it feels from the rest of the game because it's like, whoa, this is unique.
yeah,
And then you go back to Who Lake and it's still kind of the Whoville, Who Forest vibe. Even though there's no snow at Who Lake, that's really cool too. It's like this really open, like almost fall-ridden area. That's how I could describe it.
yeah.
Because,
And like you have to defeat these like porcupine enemies and then launch
yep.
porcupine needles at at the boxers that are the shorts that are hanging on the clothesline.
To mess with the scouts, bro, it's the best.
Yeah. Like the Grinch is just like fuck everybody. Like he's just trying to make everybody's life miserable, and I'm here for it.
Oh yeah, dude. I wish they would have given us a little bit of backstory on why he is the way he is, but at the same time, the anonymity of it it's hilarious.
The movie
you,
the movie does go into that though.
oh, it's been a long time since I've watched it. I meant specifically about the game because a lot of people that have probably played the game, it's possible they haven't seen the movie.
True.
Because I had never watched the movies as a kid until after I'd played the game.
Really? Yeah, I watched the movie a
Yeah.
lot as a kid. I really, really like it. I think it's the best. The Jim Carrey one in particular is
Did you know that in the Jim Carrey movie, the scene where he like gets frustrated and it, like rips the tablecloth out,
Yeah.
Jim Carrey did it so perfectly that nothing on the table like fell, and they kept that take,
Yeah.
and he just went back and destroyed the table. It was so funny, bro.
That's awesome. I love it.
Oh,
Yeah, it's a great fucking movie. And while this game kind of occupies its own space, so to speak, like it does feature some callbacks and things.
so you haven't gotten the Marine Mobile yet. And
No.
there's a specific section in the game where you have to do some stuff underwater. And dude, the Marine Mobile is so hard to control. It's so hard to control that whole challenge, it's going to piss you off.
Oh no, okay.
Because once you finish the Who Lake section and you get to like the epilogue of the game, not the epilogue, the final sequence of the game, you have to go back to each individual area and do a specific set of challenges, and they're all fucking ridiculously hard.
Oh.
Especially the ones at Who Lake, because one of them requires the Marine Mobile, and it's so hard. You gotta do a specific path in a certain amount of time, and it's unforgiving, dude.
Oof. Yeah, you gotta respect the balls in some of these games. They're like, nah, we're gonna make the children fucking work for it. We're gonna make them sweat their balls off.
Yeah, absolutely, dude. It's nuts.
Yeah, no, this game is a whole vibe. I'm actually really really digging it. I got to play some last year, and I got as far as the forest before,
Yeah.
but now I've actually kind of gotten to dive deep into the game, and it's been a lot of fun. Oh, that's what I was gonna say. One thing I thought was interesting is that the Grinch doesn't have a conventional health meter in this game. It's more like an anxiety meter or something. It's like the more that he gets fucked with, the more he just gets like pissed off, and he's just like, this is unbearable.
Yeah, it's canon that the Grinch is invincible.
Yeah, so that makes sense. And I mean, none of the things that you do in this game really are things that would seriously hurt someone. I mean, they all seem to be minor annoyances, so it kind of makes sense. Like, even the damage you inflict on others is just more just like, you're just blowing breath in their face to make them run away. Um, I noticed that. So that's actually kind of funny, is like everything maintains this very light tone. Nobody ever gets seriously injured in this movie or in this game.
Yeah, I think they've tried to keep it as family friendly as possible, and I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Because that means, like you said, Hazel's been really enjoying it too. So it's definitely one for the kids.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's very toned down, and it kind of just fits the vibe of the Grinch. And even whenever you die, it's pretty friendly. It just starts you over at the beginning of the level, but like all of your progress is maintained.
Yep. Oh yeah, for sure. It's as far as like losing progress, it's incredibly forgiving.
Hell, during the game's like one boss battle, you can die in the middle of that fight, and you just start over exactly where you're at. Like, you don't even have to restart the boss battle. Like, you maintain whatever phase you're on. It happened to me. I was actually surprised.
Well, that is refreshing, especially considering that a lot of kids probably struggled with that game or with that part in the game, because the game is honestly the perfect blend of difficulty with accessibility, if that makes sense. Like,
Sure.
you can really enjoy the game and everything difficult about it, while also being able to achieve it after a while. A lot of it just takes some thinking, because with the Grinch, 90% of what you're doing is a puzzle.
Yeah.
Because you have to figure out how exactly you're going to fuck with people, like getting the beehives into the cabins. You have to do some platforming in order to get to the chimney so that you can drop down. Or, it takes a bit of thinking to get to the top of the clock tower in Whoville. It takes a little bit of thinking to properly sort the mail and, oh gosh, get the power plant done. And it's really refreshing.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the puzzles or even like the tasks that you perform are very ambiguous. Like, you'll get a list of things that you're supposed to do, but they don't tell you how you're supposed to do them or what you might need. So, okay, put the beehives in the houses. You can figure that out well enough, but some of these houses I can't reach. And so you think, well, maybe I'm not supposed to worry about that one. Oh, but then you get, the rocket launcher. Now you can
The rocket spring?
the rocket spring. Yeah. Now you can jump onto those houses and drop the beehive in. And then there's some that are just, like, it tells you need to do this, but you don't know exactly how you're going to do that.
Yep, the Grinch is a Metroid Prime game, confirmed. Because when you get a blueprint that allows you to complete like a specific gadget, it now unlocks another spot in another area that you were previously working on, and it allows you to kind of make more progress to getting all of those tasks done. It's really cool, and it's really well done. The pacing of the game is probably one of the best I've ever seen in a adventure game like that.
Yeah, and as I mentioned before, it even has sort of a Metroidvania style progression, which is fun. I wouldn't expect that out of a Grinch game. And it makes the levels again denser. It kind of adds another dimension to them. Like, okay, yeah,
Konami made the Grinch, right?
yeah. This was published by Konami.
Yeah, they did an excellent job. Like, let them make more adventure games like this, please. I would love a remake of this game. Not necessarily a remake, but like a reimagining of it.
Yeah,
With a more modern setting. It would be really cool to see what they could come up with.
they could definitely do that. Like, this game could use an overhaul. I think, and you've got a little bit of light stealth. Overall, there's a lot of ideas in this game that if it were a little bit longer and had more content, you would be able to explore a little bit more, because there's just some interesting things that you can do that they only do a couple of times.
That is true, but that kind of adds to the magic of it, you know?
True, yeah.
Oh, I got it! I have a great idea. This year, the Who's will pay. Here they are, my precious gadget blueprints. All my inventions, my contraptions, my Machiavellian machines.
That, in fact, is the misanthrope scheme. Build gadgets from blueprints. Halt the holiday theme.
What gadget should I build first? The Grinch copter? With this, I can fly over the despicable Who's. Maybe the octopus climbing device to scale the walls? No. The rocket spring to perform magnificent jumps. Or better yet, one of my most treasured weapons, the rotten egg launcher to stink out my enemies, or the slime gun to just stick it to them. My marine mobile. No. I know. Yes, this! No! My plans, my precious plans! I'll never be able to build my gadgets!
But will this debacle make the Grinch stop and quit? Of course not. He growls and pledges.
I'll stick with it. You know what, Max? Nothing's gonna stop us this year. I'll recover my plans piece by piece. And I swear to ruin the party for everyone. Even if I have to roam all over Wholand. So, let's begin with the worst part. Whoville! I have more than one crafty way to upset those irksome Who's. Okay, Max, we're ready. Let's creep down to Whoville. Let the May begin!
Well, and that being said, I mean, there's still a huge chunk of the game that I haven't completed yet. I mean, according to the in-game percentage, completion percentage, I'm at 55% completion, and I'm on the Who Lake, but and I've completed every available task besides the presents at every other level.
Yeah, to be honest, you've got a good bit left, but it's primarily finding the presents.
I would think so.
Yeah, that and the journey once you finish Who Lake.
Right, there's a whole...
I'm not going to tell you... Yeah, there's a whole thing you got to do once you finish Who Lake.
I'm kind of aware of it. Like, I know, like, the end of the game is going to be basically, like, the events of Christmas night, resulting in, the Grinch's whole, like the ending to that story. But most of the game kind of works as I guess, a sort of, like, prequel. Like, this is what he did just before Christmas.
Yep.
Which is cool because, I mean, the movie sort of expanded that as well. I mean, that was the major facet of the movie, was they expanded the story and showed a lot of what led up to that. But this kind of takes its own route. It was during that era where video games that were movie tie-ins didn't necessarily know everything about the movie script. And so they kind of just had to wing it and write something that came out around the same time as the movie. You saw this in a lot of the games of that era.
The Spider-Man games, dude.
That was exactly what I was thinking of, the Spider-Man games. And they throw a bunch of villains into there, like super villains that would likely have shown up at some later point in the franchise, but...
Well, yeah, but if you keep it exactly like the movie, then the gamers know exactly what's going to happen, and it kind of takes away a little bit of the discovery of the story. Which, I mean, I get it, but being the player, you get to experience the story in a different way instead of just watching it.
Yeah. And this was during an era where the performances in game didn't even necessarily mirror the movie. Like, you could play through... I remember playing, like, the early Harry Potter games, and they kind of sort of looked like the actors, but not really. They never used the actual actors as voice actors. In the later games, like, they started actually using sound-alikes, at least. But, back at this era, you never knew what you were going to get. I mean, in the Spider-Man games, I remember it did look like Tobey Maguire and Kirsten Dunst. and they did sort of sound like them, but and a lot of these games, you know, they didn't. They just went in a completely other direction, and that was okay because it was just kind of like, okay, hey, um, okay, guys, we're not really going to give you the finer details of what's going to happen in this movie. We're not going to let you see in advance, but we want you to write a game, doing the best that you can, using what's available to you, and release it within this time frame. You know, right around the time the movie comes out, and you know they would have to dig back and find things from the original books or stories that these were adapted from. So obviously, the Grinch game is going to take some cues from the original Dr. Seuss book or the cartoon with Boris Karloff.
Yep. Fuck the tree. Fuck the tree. Fuck the tree. I don't know if you've ever seen that, but it's like Markiplier's Try Not to Laugh videos. Somebody edited the Grinch like fucking the tree, and it was like fuck the tree, fuck the tree. It was quite great.
Fucking A, that's awesome.
Man. Oh, dude, I can't wait for you to finish the game and tell me what you think about the ending, because like the ending of the game is really hard. I don't think to this day my dad has actually beaten the game himself. He always had me do the last part because it was really hard. And I had those agile child fingers. Pause. Oh, man. It's Christmas time. Or it was Christmas time, dude. Like, I tell you what, man. The holidays seem to come and go.
I know, man.
Next week is already 2025. 2025 is upon us, dude. We're closing in on Metroid Prime, GTA 6, probably going to get a trailer for a new big Zelda adventure that we won't see for a couple of years.
Yeah, no kidding.
It's crazy. And I actually think that they made another Grinch game.
I'm sure they did. I'm sure they made something to tie in with the new Benedict Cumberbatch one, which I've watched, and it's okay.
Boonadoot Snooberboot.
I'm a fan of him as an actor, you know, so I wanted to give it a chance. I watched it with Hazel, but it just doesn't come close to the Jim Carrey movie. I'm like, there's very little that could. And honestly, I kind of want to just see them do a sequel to that movie because, you know, and I think Jim Carrey said he would only do it if they were going to do CGI, but with the level of like motion capture technology we have today, go ahead. Yeah. I mean, the dude's pretty old now. You don't need to put him under all that makeup and prosthetics. Let him do a motion capture thing and do a reunion cast. You know, fucking Taylor Momsen. Let's go.
Absolutely, dude. And honestly, I think with CGI, they could make him look even better than he did in the original. And plus, I mean, dude's, like you said, dude's 60 now, so.
Yeah.
Or he's probably like older than that. He's probably like 61 or 2. He's 60 and sexy.
Judge's eyes, I can't miss that. Wrestle with my self-loathing. I'm booked.
Oh man, it's now I gotta watch that movie. It's been way too long. Jazzercise.
Yeah, he's like Jazzercise, dinner with me, wrestle with my self-loathing. I'm booked.
Oh, bro, it's gonna be a sad day when we lose Jim Carrey, man.
No kidding. But
yeah.
I guess we'll sort of get into our final thoughts with the video game. I don't know how much more there is to say.
There, you know, anything else that we would say would probably be digging into like beating a dead horse. At this point, like it's not a long game or a very big game, excuse me, but it's very special, and it's something that you'll really enjoy should you get your paws on it. You know, it was a huge game that I loved as a kid. It was challenging for me, but it was something I could do with my dad. And I will always love The Grinch just because it provided me my first real challenge as a video game. It allowed me to kind of think bigger with puzzles and stuff like that. And, you know, quality time with the family is always a plus. So I have a very special place in my heart for this game. It's huge. So I'm glad that we're finally getting the chance to talk about it. And for me, it's definitely a 10 out of 10 game just because of the experience I had with it.
Hell yeah,
and that's purely nostalgic. Graphics and stuff could always be better, but I mean, it's the Dreamcast back in... when did it come out? Like 2001? 2000?
Yeah, I think so.
Something like that. So, but I definitely love this game, and I highly recommend it to anybody who's looking for a taste of nostalgia for like the older style of video game, because it's really good, and it's back when video games weren't so, you know, dependent on the internet and multiplayer and now I don't hate them, but it doesn't have like a huge skill tree. This game is very simple, and it's difficult, but in a lovable way. So, but yeah, that's about how I feel about it. I love it. Well, so far you said you're on Who Lake, so how are you feeling about it?
Man, I really like this. I was genuinely surprised by this game. By the way, it came out in 2000, same as the movie.
Nice.
Um, and yeah, I mean, it's been a whole vibe so far. I don't have the same nostalgic factor that you do, but I can still appreciate this type of game because I played games from this era. The controls are a little bit awkward. I mean, you've got like especially on the Dreamcast. I played it on the PS1 last year, and I can't remember if this was the same, but like the camera controls, because there's no right analog stick, you use the left and right triggers instead, which is a
Yep.
little odd. And selecting the items is a little frustrating because you have to hit left on the D-pad, and then you cycle through with the stick, and then you have to hit the D-pad again. It takes a little getting used to. And like I said, some of the platforming is a little awkward, but you know, I also played games from around these era. So it's nothing that I'm not used to, and I can definitely appreciate, the style of game. And even though it doesn't have performances from the people in the movie, the ones that we are left with are awesome. I mean, obviously, the Grinch is just kind of his own take. Did you know that Space Ghost himself, George Lowe, is the narrator?
Really?
Yeah, man, it's Space Ghost.
I did not know that. That's kind of crazy.
It's fucking awesome, dude. And I mean, Anthony Hopkins narrated the original, so it's kind of odd when you think about it.
It's odd, but it's awesome.
Anthony Hopkins narrated the movie. I mean, but yeah, man, I really enjoyed this game more than I thought I would. Sometimes it's a little bit of a chore to play. I'd be lying if I said that like there were times where I didn't want to just play something else, because I did get some games for Christmas that I'm like, ooh, okay, yeah, I want to jump back into Yakuza, or I want to jump into Astrobot, which was Game of the Year, which I bought with some money I got for Christmas. Um, but there were times also where I was like, dude, I can't wait to play more of the Grinch. This is a blast. And Hazel really enjoyed watching me play, and she was actually able to run around and play it. So I remember spending countless hours of the night just like locked into this game, and I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, and honestly, you and Hazel are kind of having the same experience that my dad and I did, except she's a little younger, and so you guys have more time for more memories.
Yeah.
It's very special, and I've said special so many times, but that's just the best word for it.
Yeah, no kidding. But we hope everyone had a Merry Christmas. Sorry we got this out a little bit late. The Grinch stole our Christmas.
That's good.
Did you get any games for Christmas, buddy?
I did not. My wife actually got me a flat screen TV. She got me a 50-inch Hisense Google TV that can register games at 240 hertz per second. And I've been playing a lot of Smash Brothers. I've been playing Tears of the Kingdom on it, and I've just been really enjoying that gift. I got some soap and some socks, and my father-in-law gave me something that he specifically called a big ass lump of coal, and it's just a bar of soap that stained my tub.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, I'll have to clean that up at some point.
I got mostly clothes and shit. Which when you're an adult is more exciting than it was when you were a kid. You're like, oh, I never fucking shop for myself. So,
Yeah.
it's always nice whenever you do get clothes and there's things that you would wear. But I did get one game for Christmas that was Yakuza Like a Dragon. It was a game that was on my wish list that I've been meaning to play for a while. It's where the Yakuza franchise turned based. So their new iteration of games, followed by Infinite Wealth, which just came out this year, and I'm actually really enjoying it. That's a game I've been playing this Christmas that I've been really sinking already some time into. And as I mentioned before, I got Astrobot. I bought that with some Christmas money. I figured, it was Game of the Year. I should play it, and I was really excited to actually finally put some time into it, and I've been enjoying it. Speaking of Game of the Year, I don't think we really got a chance to talk about the Game Awards. We talked about the nominees, but I think that was almost like by design. Like I think all of us were just kind of like, yeah, the Game Awards was stupid. It's rigged. So we didn't even really talk about the winners, but we will have our year in review episode out at the beginning of the new year. So we'll get a chance to talk about some of the nominees during that time and any games that we missed a game launch review on this year.
Yeah, man. To be honest, I was a little miffed by the Game Awards. From what I saw of Astrobot, I'm glad that it won, but I'm not really excited about anything else. What I'm really looking forward to is the lineup for next year and what we're expecting to get.
Yeah.
So it should be good. GTA 6 is going to win Game of the Year, but Metroid Prime 4 is probably going to show up.
Yeah. Did GTA 6 win most anticipated? I'm sure it did. Because Metroid Prime 4 was also on there, but I knew it wasn't going to win.
I know it came in second, so that's something. But no, GTA 6 is going to sweep the awards next year.
Yeah, no kidding. And I honestly, I wasn't disappointed with the nominees. A lot of them I agree with. Metaphor, fantastic game. Awesome that Atlas pumped out a new IP, even if it's basically just medieval Persona. It's also got a lot new to offer. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, I loved that game as well. It was one of my most anticipated games that came out last year, so I'm happy that was on the list. Honestly, if any DLC was going to make it, I'm happy Elden Ring Shadow of the Erdtree did, because that's a game that's a DLC that's as big as games that have won. And yeah. I was just kind of disappointed that Silent Hill 2 got snubbed and didn't win a single award.
Well, you gotta think about it, man. Remakes and remasters and stuff, while they are beautiful and well done, there's a little bit of a fairness issue that happens there.
The thing is, though, Silent Hill 2 is basically a new game. But I understand. But I mean, yeah, it just felt a little weird. I think especially once we got to the player's voice, why the fuck was Genshin Impact even on the list? That game didn't come out this year.
Was it on ongoing games or
if it was on the best ongoing game, that would have been fine. There's a category for that. But for it to show up in player's voice when it's not a new game was kind of dumb. And the fact that there were 2 gacha games on there that I'd never even fucking heard of.
Yeah. That's why I wasn't a huge fan of the Game Awards, and I saw the highlights and stuff, but it seems like every year it becomes a little bit less and less, entertaining and informative. Yeah. I was kind of hoping that they would announce the launch of the Switch 2, or at least give us a look at it at the Game Awards. That would have been really cool. That would have made Nintendo really stand out.
We did get some exciting announcements.
Yes, we did.
Okami 2, Capcom is running back into Onimusha. From Software is releasing a new spin-off game that's a multiplayer, which is really cool. And Witcher 4, very excited about that. And Naughty Dog has a new IP. It's about time they did something new instead of, The Last of Us.
It is
Part 1 remake, remastered, deluxe edition.
Yeah, they need to really stop doing that stuff, because let's be honest here, that's not really helping anybody. And it doesn't look that great. I hope that they don't flop what's that Bethesda IP that came out, that space one.
Yeah,
it's not even memorable.
Starfield, yeah.
That game bombed super hard, especially with the performance issues and stuff. But that's neither here nor there. The Grinch is a phenomenal game, and it deserved to be Game of the Year this year. Let's be honest.
I mean,
I'm glad you're enjoying it, dude. I really am. That makes my heart happy.
Fuck yeah, man. Yeah, I had a great time with it. But yeah, stay tuned for our year in review episode. Also, our post-holiday bonus round. We're going to cover season 3 of The Angry Video Game Nerd and give out our top 5 episodes from that season. And we'll also have a part 2 of our Ocarina of Time episode. So if you missed part 1 of our Zelda month content, go check that out wherever you get your podcasts. And part 2 has already been recorded. It was a blast. We were all on there. You, me, Megan, Dan, and our guest, Devin, from the last video game podcast. So that was a fucking blast.
Absolutely, brother. Yes, it is. You know what? I'm so excited for what's to come. It's going to be a great time. We're going to have so much content.
Yeah, next month we're doing Super Metroid as our 50th episode. So I'm really excited to get into that. I've actually started the game already, and I actually I set the controls as close to Metroid Dread controls as possible.
Yeah. That one more thing before we get off.
Yeah.
That's another thing that I like about these older games. Yeah, the controls can be a little difficult, but nowadays controls are pretty much similar in a lot of different games and
Very
play styles and
samey.
stuff like that. And to be honest, it's nice to have that level of difficulty with controls as well. I think that's what made the Nintendo 64 so difficult. Like especially GoldenEye, bro. Holy shit, that game. If you were good at that game, you were a monster. Super Smash Bros. And Ocarina of Time and stuff.
Yeah. I mean, just about any game nowadays is going to be developed like a third-person shooter. Any game that features a gun.
Absolutely, bro.
like you're right. Like a lot of games do feel very samey, but like when you come across a gem from the past that kind of did its own thing that was unique, that's always nice.
Oh man, I'm sorry, Ash. I just got some really good news, and I'll share that with you once we stop recording. But I'm a little overwhelmed at the moment, so I apologize for getting super paused.
No problem, brother. Well, I guess that's where we'll sort of wrap things up here. You can find us wherever you get your podcasts and on social media as well. We are on Blue Sky, Threads, Facebook, Instagram, and yes, the Dead Bird.
The Dead Bird.
The Dead Bird app.
Yeah, I actually made an account on Blue Sky, so I can actually get connected more with our podcast now on Blue Sky.
Nice. Hell yeah, man.
Yeah, so I figured it was time. Plus, I'm going to start streaming here very soon, and I need to get as connected as possible.
Yeah, not a bad idea, brother.
But yeah, man.
Also, if you want to support the show, we do have a Patreon where we have exclusive Let's Play video game commentaries, and we will have more to come as I've got a capture card now and I can afford to do that. And now that we're pretty much caught up on the podcast, I might actually have time for it. You can also check out our merch store on TeePublic, where we have everything from shirts to hats to mugs and whatnot. And you can also buy us a coffee on Buy Me a Coffee. And yeah, you can listen to us on Good Pods and help us rise up the ranks as well. We do appreciate that. And also, check out Collateral Let's Play. This week, we kind of took a break from Call of Duty Saturday and Phoenix Wright Wednesday in lieu of our holiday special, but Bo and I played through day one of Parasite Eve, which is a Christmas game. So go check out our holiday special for Collateral Let's Play, and we should be returning to Call of Duty Saturday here this weekend and Phoenix Wright Wednesday next week. So stay tuned for both of those series. You can check out Collateral Let's Play on both the Collateral Gaming and Collateral Cinema YouTube channels. You can also check out our sister podcast, Collateral Cinema. We did our holiday special with Abyss Gazing from the Victims and Villains Podcast Network on Terrifier 3. We also guested on their show and did Black Christmas. And on Collateral Cinema, we should have out very soon our second half of Bad Movie December, which was on Samurai Cop 1 and 2 with Frank from Geek Freaks. As well as our post-holiday wrap-up director's cut on the Tim and Eric Awesome Show, Great Job Crimbus special. So, yeah, go check out the rest of Collateral Media content. And with all that being said, have a happy holidays, everyone. I've been Ashley Chancellor.
I've been Zachary Gio. Make sure to make 2025 the best year yet.
Hell yeah, brother.
Collateral Gaming is a Collateral Media podcast. All music and game clips are owned by their respective creators and are used for educational purposes only. Please don't sue us. We're poor.